Joining us to share on AI and jobs, navigating displacement, policy, and shared responsibility, we have Mr. Siva Kumeren Narayanan, who is the Group Chief Operating Officer of Talent Corp Malaysia. Please welcome Mr. Siva to the stage.
Testing. Good afternoon. Had your lunch? So this is a lunch talk. So I try to keep it as vibrant as possible so you don't fall asleep. But my name is Siva. I'm from Talent Corp. It's a government agency under the Ministry of Human Resource. And I'm going to give you a context of this particular subject on AI and jobs, navigating displacement, policy and shared responsibility. Now, I thought I would share with you from the ASEAN context first. And since this is an ASEAN AI summit. So this is what it is. 18% of ASEAN GDP by 2030 looks very positive. You got 30 billion market from US 8.92 billion in 2025. Now the job skills changed by 40%, meaning AI is disrupting job skills and it's projected to hit 72% by 2030. Now, contrast to that will be the workforce readiness. Now, AI professionals has tripled from 2016 to 2024. 57% of the workforce may be affected, or we talk about 164 million. And I will share with you how many numbers are going to be impacted in Malaysia as well. Now, we also have the demographic, 70% of women and up to 76% of Gen Z will be in high-risk roles. Now, at the bottom is a data saying 81% of Malaysian employers in Malaysia face challenging in hiring AI talent, and that is now. Now, let's look at it from the fast-growing skills over the next 5 years on each country. If you look at it from Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines, and so on. Now, the rise of AI automation and digital economy is definitely transforming the market across ASEAN. Countries such as Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore are focusing on AI and machine learning, while Indonesia and Philippines also focus on this, but more emphasis in fintech and business process outsourcing technologies. This is projected from 2024 to 2029. Now, if you look at it, the key competency gaps, so we also need to understand the gaps that are in line. Now, while digital and AI skills, Malaysia has made progress, but we still lag behind within the other countries. As you can see, the word lagging and so forth. That's comparative, yeah? So on the left, we are actually comparing Malaysia versus the rest. And very strongly on the right-hand side is where Singapore is, right? And where we compare ourselves. So we are lagging in certain areas, definitely rooms for improvement. And it is an area space that we need to tackle. Now, I will go down to what we are doing and how we are approaching these mechanisms as well. Now, these are key competency in domain gaps. And you look at example on the digital and AI skills, there is a need to expand digital literacy across industries in line with the national or the new industry master plan, right? Now, green technology, we have the National Energy and Transition Roadmap, and that is by 2050. So that will help drive certain changes there from a government perspective, as well as agencies that are driving it. But the other areas of lagging is actually in cybersecurity. It is becoming more demanding and it's much more required in our country, but we are lagging in that area. And of course, there are interventions in play, which we will not cover so much in today's conversations. Right? Now, let's look at the disparity risk across ASEAN. So from a governance fragmentation, only 6 ASEAN members have explicit AI strategies. Will lead to something we call inconsistent policy and weak regional coordination. So the 6 are mentioned at the bottom there, as you can see. And there are infrastructural gaps and sustainability challenges. So obviously, digital divide is a very growing concern. While everybody here might think everyone has a mobile phone and access to internet, it's not the case across the region. And it has implications as well. Adoption of AI, because then you don't have your access to internet, you don't have access to mobile or tech, and therefore you have lack access to AI. And therefore you will not be able to do certain things that you want to, whether it's a decision-making process, productivity process, or whatever related to AI, that you will have a challenge. Now, there's also disparity in investment, what we call the AI-ready data centers. Everybody has an attraction tool, so does Malaysia, but it is not across that we have enough AI-ready data centers as well. Now, to compound all that, we have something called the uneven AI readiness across the landscape, and that data itself shows the Government AI Readiness Index, where Singapore stands, where Malaysia and the rest are. So from this ASEAN summit, what we hope is awareness, that's number one. Number two, we need to create more alignment within the ASEAN region so that the AI ecosystem here grows better compared to the other regions. So there are ASEAN policies for AI. We got the Responsible AI Roadmap, the Guide on AI Governance and Ethics, as well as the Digital Economic Framework Agreement called the DEFA. Now, ASEAN workforce culture, capabilities, and the challenges ahead. If you look at it from the strength side, Southeast Asian organization, we are a strong performance culture, we are customer-centric mindset. You go to almost every region, you can actually feel that. Intentional leaderships are there, empowering culture and learning-focused environment. This is very good. Those are the strengths that we have. But the areas for us to improve is actually empower through structural leadership. That needs to cut across in terms of formalizing what we call performance management and feedback loops and so on. Then alignment of employees with strategy. When we look across the region based on the Unlocking Southeast Asia's Secret of Thriving Organization by McKinsey, these are leading factors that we need to improve on. And also look at leverage of data and tech. I put it in red because the use of analytics and innovation to drive faster and smarter decisions across the region, it's not fully utilized yet. So that's our areas. Now, let's talk about Malaysia. We are not short of roadmaps and programs, as you can see on the chart. Now, we look at everything, but the most important one is what ministry is trying to do from Kementerian Digital through Ministry of Digital, something called the National AI Technology Action Plan. Why is this exciting? For the first time, we have KPIs to deliver by timeline, and it has to be delivered and monitored. And this is fantastic because then it actually puts rubber to the meat or to the road. And we have to actually deliver results. So look out for this. I think this is where everyone will play a role, and there are true thriving measurements to see outcomes from this particular action plan. Now, a little bit of us, Talent Corp, why we are here. We look at this model for looking at addressing states now. So I'm not going to go commercially inside there, but basically, we are a think tank for Kusuma. Kusuma actually is the rebranding of Ministry of Human Resource under the ministry, and we call ourselves Kusuma. And we are looking at addressing evolving challenges within the Malaysian workforce, and that's how we are involved in the AI study. Now, one of the things that we've initiated is called a skills future or skills first approach. We are seeing changes in the employment field, in the way individuals are hired. There are no longer requirements of degree, masters, or whatever not. They are looking at it as skills-based first. Are you a skill? Are you a specific skill sets? And do you have that skill set? So it's all about certification. Are you an expert in certain field, across a global standard or an international standard? And I think this will become the norm. And in some countries, out of this region, they actually recruit individuals using skills. And there's no requirement for you to be a degree holder or master's or PhD or whatever not. That's on the commonality part. But they look at you, are you a coder? If you're a coder, what level are you? What skill sets do you have? These are very critical components because we need to direct our younger workforce that is in the tertiary education to the right channel. And it's critical for us to plot that directive correctly. Now, to understand where Malaysia is, in terms of the impact of AI onto the organizations in Malaysia, as well as the digital and green economy on the Malaysian workforce, we initiated a study. And I will share with you some of the summary of the study, and it will give you a stark information about where we are and what are the challenges we face. On top of that, we also have developed a future skills development platform. So publication is not just the way to go. We also need to tell people how to use it. How do you understand your job role and how are you being impacted by AI? That will be on this particular platform. You can actually go in and test your own job roles inside there and see how badly are you going to be impacted. So that's there. And it also tells you how to reskill yourself. Now, after that, we have also a sector-focused talent council. And this council is to drive demand versus talent requirement versus the supply that is coming from the tertiary, private, public, or even school leavers. And how do we actually map that and address that gap? Because education will not be able to keep pace with the technology advancements as we clearly see now. Now, the industry-driven upskilling, reskilling, and reskilling program are all led by the industry, and I will share with you this ecosystem, why this is going to help expand the talent pool up to 7.4 times now. So the first one is, these are the sectors we have already done the study on. It will actually give you very clearly jobs that are impacted, the skills that are required, what are the solutions available to upskill and reskill those impacted. It also covers the strategies and the options available to change your career path if you wish to, and how as an entity or a government, how do we come together. So we call it the GIAT. So that knows, if I give the breakdown of the acronym is government, industry, the G and I, and then we look at T as for the talent part of it, yeah, and then learning institution is the association and the association. So this is a government implementation framework that we will cover in this particular model. Now, this is what we are doing as an approach. As we speak, phase 2 of the 12 other sectors are being covered. We have already done 17, and the publication will be out somewhere in November. Now, let's talk about the phase 1. What has happened? So the phase 1 has given us an indicator as what you see over there, AI adoption and the impact of the job and the job roles. All sectors have adopted what we call different processes of digitalization. 3 sectors indicate higher degree of AI adoption as a result of advanced automation. We talk about oil, ICT, and so forth. Now, 3 others highlighted a higher adoption of green economy practices due to the regulatory requirements. So it's oil and gas, energy, and so forth and so on. Now, we have actually gone through 949 job roles within these 10 sectors and have validated. 94% represented existing roles, while the remaining 6%, which is, or 61%, 61 job roles are emerging roles that will be highly or increasingly in demand in the next 3-5 years. I'll share with you what are those. Then we look at the point number 3, 620,000 jobs will be impacted. It constitutes about 18% of the total workforce in Malaysia, which is about 3.5 million. Now, highly impacted job roles can pivot to other jobs. Those are there. And the in-demand specific roles are also covered. Now, I'll give you an example of what's going to happen on the next phase. So these are all the job roles that is going to be impacted on. So you can see in ICT, in aerospace, in food manufacturing services, and E&E, and pharmaceutical, and so forth. These are all jobs that are going to be impacted. Crew leader, you name it, that has menial tasks or repetitive tasks, they are all going to be impacted, right? Now, if you look on to the next one, which is distinct role that will be associated, the biggest impact will be in the warehouse, retail, and trade, as well as GBS sectors as well. So you can look at all those names and the titles within the skill sets that are going to be impacted as well. Now, these are 20 unique emerging jobs that will be increasingly important over the next 3 to 5 years. Now, the problem statement is, at school, at primary and secondary, do they know there are these kind of jobs available? At university space, do they know there are these kind of jobs available? So awareness about these kind of jobs are very, very critical. And it is important. Now, you will notice number 27 is live host. So live host here means your TikTokers, your Instagrams, and your Shopee. It's a huge demand now. So if you're sending your kids and say, don't go and do certain things, I think that space is something we see as a growing trend right now, live hosts. And Malaysia seems to be very popular with this live host model. Yeah, I believe it's across the region as well. So these are all new, unique, emerging jobs. So let's talk about the example of a person who's impacted into the job role and what can he do. So a process engineer pivoting to a project engineer or field system operations engineer across the energy and power sector. So if he must move. So let's take an example. If a current job is highly impacted, he's a process engineer. And if he is in his own current sector, he will have these specific skills, which we call transferable skills. And he can, within the chemical sector, which is where he's from, he can actually become an integrated engineer. That's our emerging jobs. And these are the additional skills that he needs to acquire. Now, of course, this comes together with job coaching, mentoring, and skill sets that you need to upgrade yourself. But most important is you have a direction. You need to know what you yourself have to undertake and do. Now, if you decided for whatever reason, your non-executive specific skill, you might have all this as well, but you want to move into energy and power sector, and you look at fuel systems operations engineer, for example, these are the new requirements that you need to have. So you can actually look at it from an option where you need to pivot, or you want to go within the same sector. But if you're highly impacted, I did not give out the full details, but on our website, which is called aimalaysiasummit.gov.my, you can actually run this on your own, and you can actually see yourself where you are and what kind of skill sets for AI or how AI is impacting your job roles as well. We'll be discovering on that. So these are the potential jobs. Why is this important? Because 650,000 people are going to be impacted by job. They need to know how to look at new opportunities for themselves, which area they need to drive towards, and how to rebuild their career or move to a career that is better for them. And it's critical because if not, it will become a government social issue. Now, this is a platform. You can go in and you can grab all the information you want. It's free. There's no cost. There's no requirement. All you require is to register so that you get your details. And it's sent privately to you. It's not shared publicly, by the way. So these are all the information that you can garner from this platform. Now, this is, on top of that, while we have tackled the sector related to the individual workforce of that particular sector, then we ask the most important question: how ready is the organization within that sector? So we have launched something called the IRE program, which is similar to the Singapore model. Actually, we partnered with them as well. It talks about your readiness index. As an organization, you are able to go in, answer a few set of questions. It will give you an early indicator on your AI readiness. How ready is your organization? From your management right up to your operations team. So you can actually run this program and you can actually get that answer. In the next phase or in the months to come, probably by January, you will also be able to put in all the job roles that you have in your organization. And it will tell you how percentage-wise you are impacted by AI, how much of that needs to be intervened, and where do you see use case scenarios as well of applications. So we are building now the solution workshop together with the National AI Council Office. We'll be doing a POC for the next 3 months, and we will go live next year. Now, Future Skills Talent Council is important for us. We are driving this akin to a model where demand-driven approach is the wave of the future. Meaning, anyone who wants to know what kind of job, what are the roles available, the best person to answer is the company that's hiring them. And so we put the industry captains into one council by sector. So just now I showed you about the 10 sector, we have 17 sector. We have all the global and local strong performers, C-suites and C-1 sitting in this particular council to address the talent requirement of that particular sector. They will tell us what are the demand, what are the job roles, and what level of competency and requirements are there. And these are then published into our portal. On top of that, if there's a gap between the education system to the employment market and a student comes out, how do we address that particular gap and who is best to fulfill it is also decided by this council, and we drive this agenda through this particular program. And this is actually benchmarked against the International Labour Organization, if any of you know about it, and we have practices and adopted some of the best practices across. And today, this is live, it's running. We have 17 sector councils in operations. And we meet every quarter, by the way. Now, these are some of the names that you will see in the organization structure, and they drive everything. Now, what we have also done in the month of May, the chair or the sector heads from respective council are grouped together and placed onto the first National AI Council for Industry. AI is not a phenomenon just for a particular sector. It cuts across all, and it cuts across society as well, plus workforce. So that's the council. It's driven, co-developed and co-operated and co-managed with the National AI Office through My Digital, and is to drive the solutioning that is required for the workforce in the respective industry. Now, just give you a kick of a flavor, what we have done so far. This particular thing actually has 2,336 people put through this particular program, 66 programs that's been decided by the council, not by Talent Corp and the industry, and it 100% guaranteed employment. So far, we have successfully putting them into employment already. That means it's all employed. They're going to get employed because that's the mechanism that we drive. Now, these are all the requirements of the PACs, and this doesn't come from what we call statistical data. It's actually real life on the ground 3 feet conversation with the industry to capture the data points, and it's validated every quarter with the industry segment. So this is how we drive solutioning. And the idea of the National AI Council for Industry is to actually look into these particular areas and help us address the AI adoption rate for the organization, especially the individuals plus the organization. So the future outlook for us, it will be a shared responsibility from the government, definitely under the RMK 13, as you can see, it's being tabled in the cabinet right now. We're going through parliament session. We will look at financial incentives and R&D efforts. We look at financial support to upskill and reskill employees. We pool existing infrastructure to serve as training centers. LLM is an expensive affair. There are cheaper versions, but for an education system, LLM is a costly affair. So how do you then pool resources together and ensure students get access, whether it's cloud-based, whether the partners that we have in Malaysia, how can we expand it further and give more accessibility? That's critical. From an industry perspective, there's a requirement for them to know what they don't know, and for us to teach them or share with them what are the problems you will face if you don't adopt. So those use cases are important for us to share by sector. Number two is look at in-house and developmental program. The problem statement is very simple. Not every company is going to allow their candidates to all 100% get trained because they got the greatest fear of them leaving the organization and joining another organization. That's another cost factor for them. So the idea is how, from a government perspective, we look at allowing individuals to reskill and upskill in this new world of continuous learning. And that is a program that we need to look into as well. So talent retention strategy, looking at strengthening industry academia collaboration. Now, the education and curriculum refresh also is important, starting from preschool. As you can see in the RNK 13, there's a lot of emphasis about AI adoption at school and preschool and so on. The question is infrastructure. Are we ready? Do we allow access to computers at school and after school hours? And can they bring their laptop to school and so forth? The new wave of teaching needs to be adopted online and blended learning and so forth and so on. So these are critical areas we need to address because these young ones will be the future of Malaysia and they will be the future for the workforce of Malaysia as well. Then lastly is we look at training providers. You cannot go to courses and just expect the course is to be validated by the training provider. So we want to create micro-credentialing. It's a very key component. We look at credential that can be added up to become a particular skill sets. And you can start, and we are, for your info, piloting with vocational institution to do micro-credentialing with what we call institution with primary and secondary students' ability to go and do after-class micro-credentialing activity in vocational institution, for example. So we need to find new ways of getting them on board and certified and get them validated by the industry. So that's the approach we are doing. So these are a bit of what we are focusing on this particular segment for this topic. And so I will leave you with this. So I think my time is up. So how can we collaborate across sectors, generate to shape inclusive skills first future work? So with that, I thank you.